The New York Islanders are in contract negotiations with one of their unrestricted free agents on an extension. We'll discuss that. Plus, we have some interviews with Brock Nelson at Four Nations and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts so you get new episodes as soon as they drop. I'm Gil Martin. I've been covering the New York Islanders for almost 2 decades, and I wrote the book Ice Wars on the history of the Islanders' rivalry with the Rangers all the way back to 1972 until the modern era. And it's always great to talk a little Islanders hockey with you. So glad that you could join us. We've got a lot to discuss today. The Islanders are in negotiations with one of their RFAs on a contract extension. We've got an interview with Brock Nelson from the Four Nations tournament, injury updates, and our weekly farm report. So lots to get to on today's show. We're going to start with the contract negotiations. And this one, can't say it's a surprise. And as always, any news that is coming out is not coming out from Lou Lamoriello. So no surprise there. But according to several sources, the New York Islanders are now negotiating with the agent of Maxim Tsyplakov on a new deal for next season. Now, Tsyplakov signed a 1-year deal worth a little less than $1 million during the offseason, and now he is a restricted free agent with arbitration rights. And a report in Hockey News Hub yesterday basically said that Tsyplakov's agent did an on-air interview in Russian and basically said that the Islanders are ready to extend the contract. They've started negotiations and that they're looking for a number somewhere in the range of $3 million. Now, Tsyplakov, 26 years old, probably looking at a bridge deal. That is typically what the Islanders and Lou Lamoriello have done, and that's probably a 2 or 3 year contract, something around $3 million. That's the word, but again, it always depends on what is going to happen. And look, Tsyplakov has played well as of late in 51 games right now. He has 7 goals and 18 assists. So, again, a player who has contributed. He seems to have picked up his play just before the Four Nations break, and that is certainly good. Look, is he anywhere near the 31 goals he scored last year with Moscow Spartak in the KHL? No. He's probably on pace for 11 goals, maybe 12 by the end of the season. But you give me 12 goals and let's say 35 to 40 points, not bad for a rookie. And, you know, Tsyplakov has contributed a lot since he joined the Islanders. He's been on multiple different lines, certainly has shown flashes, had, 2 assists in the last game, had assists in 3 games in a row before that, and just seems to be picking up his awareness. He's a +9 and, is a guy who I think the more he gets comfortable playing in the NHL with the Nauer rink, learning English, living in the United States and in the New York metropolitan area, and just adapting to things. I think we're going to see better numbers overall from Maxim Tsyplakov. And again, he's 26 years old. It is not a situation where you expect diminishing returns from Maxim Tsyplakov. You kind of expect better things next year and maybe the year after from Maxim Tsyplakov, and that is encouraging. He is not a speed demon. You know, we always talk on this show, everydayers know you want to get younger, faster, and more skilled. He's not going to make you faster, although he's probably a better skater than some people thought he would be before he got here. Sort of the report, the scouting report. Oh, he's not that fast. He's not a great skater. He can hold his own. He's good enough. But I love his hockey awareness. He can play physically occasionally. You know, he had that one fight. I was glad to see him eventually stick up for himself against the Flyers, even though that's not his thing. And I just see him growing into a more productive NHL player as of right now. And that is encouraging. And he's the kind of guy you want the Islanders to lock up. The salary cap is going up. They could certainly afford a 2 or 3 year deal at $3 million, especially if Lou Lamoriello does actually move some of these veterans who are rumored to be, you know, possibly available at the trade deadline. But even if he doesn't, $3 million is not the kind of deal that would break the bank. And I like the fact that Lou Lamoriello is taking the initiative, negotiating with Tsyplakov's agents, and hopefully there's a lot less drama. And the other thing is this, and I'm not saying that Maxim Tsyplakov is going to be a guy who, you know, 7 or 8 players are going to be, oh, I really want to play with Maxim Tsyplakov. I'm going to think about signing with the Islanders. But it does send a message. It sends a message that here is a guy who came from overseas, enjoyed playing for the Islanders, enjoyed living on Long Island and you know, coming to North America, and was willing to re-sign with the team. And I think it may, in some way, help the New York Islanders attract another Russian free agent from the KHL, or even someone who, you know, has played in the NHL but may know Maxim Tsyplakov and want to join him. So there are some sort of fringe benefits to it. And, you know, right now we've seen Tsyplakov skate on lines 2, 3, and 4 at different times during the season. If we get to the trade deadline and a couple of these guys do get traded away, I could easily see him moving back up to line 2 or certainly settling in on line 3. I think the move by Patrick Waugh to put him on line 4 was more of a wake-up call, trying to get him to play a little bit more of a certain style of hockey. And Tsyplakov, he did respond. He was suspended for 3 games. They sat him for 1 more game after that because the team was on a winning streak. And then when he got back into the lineup, he responded to that 1 game benching. He was hungry. He was, you know, playing more with more intensity. And I think it really was a benefit for Tsyplakov. And, you know, the other thing is this, and this will be less and less of an issue as we go forward, but they don't play as many games in the KHL as they do in the NHL, and the schedule is not as compressed, especially this year with the 4 Nations break, you know, going on. Tsyplakov, that suspension may have actually benefited him because he may have been hitting a little bit of a wall, may have been tiring, getting 3 games and suspension and then a 4th game off, and now the 4 Nations break. I think he will be raring to go when the Islanders return to the ice. So hopefully a deal gets done sooner rather than later. Remember, Lou Lamoriello always says, if you have time, use it. Well, Tsyplakov can't go anywhere else unless the Islanders trade him. They're not going to trade him unless negotiations are at a complete standstill. But we will keep an eye and an ear out for anything further on the Tsyplakov negotiations, and hopefully a deal gets done soon. If it doesn't, look, the arbitration hearing wouldn't be until the summer. You got plenty of time to figure this out, but you want it to get wrapped up because it just is, it makes for a better relationship between the player and his agent and the team, and that's what you want to have going forward. All right. We have a lot more to get to. We have a little interview with Brock Nelson from the Four Nations tournament. We'll have some injury updates as the Islanders did return to the practice rink on Tuesday in a kind of modified practice. Plus, we have our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders. How are they doing? And for our Islanders birthday of the day, a forward who was with the Islanders in the late 1990s and very early 2000s, played 5 seasons on the island after being acquired from the Vancouver Canucks. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got all that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That's wonderfulpistachios.com. So we have a little interview, a presser that Brock Nelson did at Four Nations. This comes courtesy of Rachel Donner, who is the host of Locked On Flyers and my Friday co-host on Locked On NHL. So Rachel was part of a press conference involving Brock Nelson. The audio is not the cleanest, but I do think it's good enough. And we're going to have a little presser with Brock Nelson from Four Nations. Here we go.
Expecting more of the same. I think this is a matchup that everyone was kind of hoping for and how the tournament played out. So a couple of days here, you kind of rest and get ready for it. But expecting more of the same, and we're excited that we're in it. I'm looking forward to it.
What expectations have the coaches been setting for you, given all the circumstances and having to be flexible with line changes and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, last night was with guys being hurt and some late pulls and losing guys in game. You kind of just have to be ready to go with whatever and ready, and alert and aware on the bench of line changes, whether you're playing wing, center, in different situations. So, but I think given the guys we have, the staff's been great at kind of letting guys know what they want. The guys that we have are pretty adaptable to different situations and capable of playing anywhere up and down. So I think it's just the mentality to go out there to play and work hard and win. So I think everything's been great.
Just, excuse me, a bunch of players watching your last game with Canada. They said that it's rare to see a game in February where there's so little room to move out there. Like, it was so hard to make plays. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, it was tight. I thought, there was some space as a premium. I think that's was kind of to be expected. I think just given the nature of the rosters that are put together, the skill, the speed. Everyone thinks the game at an extremely high level. So in that game, obviously, there was a lot of build-up and a lot of hype around that one. Leading up to that Saturday night, emotions, energy was high, extremely high. I think it played out, as advertised, and everything more that you can want. So, it was tight checking. It was fast. had a little bit of everything, and expecting more of the same, just given the rivalry and the game last night.
Considering this is the championship game, do you expect to see 3 fights in the first time?
I don't know if we'll get the same start, but I mean, like I said, emotions are going to be high. Everybody here wants to win, and this is a big one that we're looking forward to. Obviously, we played a solid game Saturday, and we have to find ways to do the same and be even better. So we're going to expect a better game from them, and we got to be ready to go.
Does the extra day kind of add to that tension building, do you think?
I'd say so, yeah. I think, like I said, everybody's here to win, and now knowing that that's the last game for sure, I think everyone's kind of ramped up, but at the same time trying to get a little bit of rest and help the guys that are banged up get healthy. So the emotions and the stakes are high, and like I said, everybody's here for one reason, to win. So it's a big rivalry and a night that we're looking forward to.
Brock, Saturday night was different. The 6 games in this tournament, that was the most different. There was a special feeling. Everybody wanted this. The NHL has gotten a buzz like they haven't had in years and years and years. What has the rivalry meant, and then the NHL buzz over the past week and a half?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best on best format has been missing for a bit. I think it's something that everybody was looking forward to, and then obviously, U.S.-Canada is a rivalry that goes back for a while, and a lot on the line and a lot of pride between two countries. So I think that game, went as advertised, and it matched expectations, I think, and even surpassed them. And I think it generated a lot of buzz and a lot of fans, beyond the game to be involved and interested in it. So we're very fortunate to get another one on Thursday night and try and match that.
Because they're about.
All right, Brock Nelson from the Four Nations tournament talking about the intensity, looking back at Saturday's big game against Canada and looking forward to the finale Thursday as the United States and Canada go head-to-head for the tournament championship. And thank you to Rachel Donner for sending that video and, being there to speak to Brock Nelson. All right, some news now from the Islanders. They had a practice on Tuesday after 9 days off, and some news on the injury front. Ryan Pulock was at practice. He did wear the non-contact orange jersey, but he's missed 7 games in a row with an upper body injury. He is obviously taking another step toward heading back by at least skating and being out there with the team. Scott Mayfield, who had a lower body injury that was sustained against Tampa Bay back on February 1st, he was at practice and was a full participant. So if Mayfield is back, at least the Islanders theoretically would have 6 defensemen that they're comfortable playing when play resumes this weekend. Noah Dobson did not skate. No surprise there. And Hudson Fasching, who has been activated off the IR but has not played since January 5th, was also a full participant at practice. Now, this was not a full intensity practice. Patrick Waugh basically saying it was about touching the ice, feeling comfortable out there. I think if we go straight to bing, bang, badang, it would feel like training camp. So I wanted the guys to feel comfortable and touch the ice. Tomorrow, we're going to add more compete, the one-on-ones, the 5-on-5, and game situations. So there is your injury update from the Islanders. And again, some progress being made, some players who are hopefully closer to coming back than we think. Looks like Scott Mayfield will be first. Some progress from Ryan Pulock. Noah Dobson still a ways away at this point. And Hudson Fasching available, but again, he and Scott Mayfield have been the healthy scratches the last, he and Matt Martin have been the healthy scratches the last few games, and we don't know whether or not that will continue once play resumes over the weekend. But the good news is Thursday, Four Nations, Brock Nelson, Team USA against Team Canada should be a great game after all of the buildup and after the intensity we saw last Saturday. And then, some injury progress reports here. And Islanders hockey is very close to returning, so that's encouraging as well. I've been pleasantly surprised by Four Nations, but I've really missed Islander hockey and regular NHL hockey, and I'm looking forward to that coming back this weekend. All right, we have got more to get to. How are things down on the farm? The Bridgeport Islanders, well, they played 3 games since last week. We're going to talk about what's going on there, some of the players who are hot, some of the players who are not. Plus, we'll have our Islanders birthday of the day and a whole lot more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from our hosts, Steele and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Time for our weekly farm report. We do this every Wednesday during the AHL season. And, as I said, the Bridgeport Islanders played 3 games since our last farm report. Last Wednesday, they faced off against the Hartford Wolfpack, the Rangers AHL affiliate. The game did go to overtime, but the Islanders fell by a score of 4-3. Henrik Tikkanen was outstanding, made 39 saves. The problem is he faced 43 shots, with a lot of them coming in the third period. And Matt Maggio, Chris Terry, and Riley Piercy scoring. And for Piercy, that was his first career AHL goal. Bridgeport had a 2-0 lead in this game, but could not hold it. They do manage a point, however. Then the next game, that came on Saturday against the Providence Bruins. And, the Bridgeport Islanders shut out in this game for the 6th time this season. Final score in this one was Providence 5, Bridgeport 0. This was a home game for Bridgeport. Look, Providence 27-15-5. They're, one of the better teams in the division, and the Islanders just could not seem to solve Brandon Bussi, the the goalie for Providence. And, unfortunately, a shutout loss. Henrik Tikkanen, again, facing only 8 shots while Bussi stopped 12. Then the third game, that was on Sunday, and it was the Islanders again against the Providence Bruins. This time, the Islanders emerged with a 4-2 win. Tyce Thompson scoring late in the third period. Again, Henrik Tikkanen comes on in relief and stops all 22 shots that he faced. Brian Pinho with a goal and an assist. Chris Terry, 2 helpers. And the Islanders end up with the win. Goals also by Eetu Liukas and Marshall Warren in this game. And finally, the Islanders beat the Bruins for the first time this year. Chris Terry by far remains the leading point getter for Bridgeport. He has 47 points in 48 games, 16 goals, which places him third on the team. Brian Pinho leads the team with 19 goals. He has 33 points. Liam Foudy, 17 goals, 33 points. And Samuel Bolduc remains the leading defense point getter. He has 6 goals and 27 points. Alex Jeffries, 8 goals, 23 points in 37 games. Matthew Maggio, 6 goals, 15 points in 44. William Dufour, 7 goals, 14 points in 39 games. That kind of gets you caught up with where the Islanders are at. And, for the goalies, Henrik Tikkanen, 4-12-1 on the year, a 4.53 goals against average, and an 860 save percentage. So obviously the lack of support has been a bit of a problem. You look at the standings, Bridgeport again, 8th place in the Atlantic Division of the AHL. They are 12, 32, and 5 in 49 games. That gives them 29 points, 17 points behind the 7th place Hartford Wolfpack. So I would say with 23 games left, being 17 points out of 7th place, the odds are very strong that Bridgeport finishes the season in 8th in their division. 2 games coming up this weekend. Saturday, a home game in the late afternoon / early evening against the Utica Comets. That's a 5 p.m. Eastern time start. And then Sunday, a home game against the Springfield Thunderbirds. That's a 3 o'clock in the afternoon start. So if you want to see some of the Islanders prospects playing before they reach the island, you could head on up to Bridgeport, or you could watch these games all on AHL TV. Again, we do the weekly farm report every Wednesday, keeping you up to date on Islanders AHL prospects throughout the season. So again, a 1-1-1 week for the Bridgeport Islanders, and that's certainly at least a better week than most of the weeks they've had this year, and a strong finish is always a good thing for Bridgeport. All right, time now for our Islanders birthday of the day, and we're a day early on this one, but Thursday will be the 49th birthday of former Islanders forward Dave Scatchard, the Hinton, Alberta native, 6'3", 210 pounds, a second-round pick by the Canucks back in 1994, made his NHL debut with Vancouver in 1997-98. Joined the Islanders midway through the 1999-2000 season, was with the Isles through the end of 2003-2004, then played for the Bruins, the Coyotes, the Predators, and the Blues. His NHL career ended after the 2010-2011 campaign, had 2 20-plus goal seasons for the Islanders, 21 goals in 2000-2001, and a career-high 27 goals in 2002-2003. One of his better games as an Islander, February 11th, 2003, Islanders hosting the Lightning at the Old Barn, the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Nikolai Khabibulin, the goalie for Tampa Bay. Garth Snow is the goalie for the Islanders. And in this game, with the score tied 1-1, Dave Scatchard, our Islanders birthday of the day, sets up Jason Weimer for a goal. That gives the Islanders a 2-1 lead. After one period, it was 3-1 Islanders when Dave Scatchard scores his 15th goal of the year. Matthias Wienhandel and Jason Weimer with the assist. That made it 4-1 Islanders. And then after the Lightning score to make it 4-2, midway through the third, Dave Scatchard from Radek Martinek and Jason Blake makes it 5-2. And Scatchard completes the hat trick with 4 minutes and 44 seconds left. Jason Weimer and Jason Blake with the assist. Islanders beat the Lightning in this game by a score of 6-2. Garth Snow, 40 saves in this wide open contest. But for Dave Scatchard, our Islanders birthday of the day, he had the hat trick. He had an assist for 4 points. He was a +4, and he had 5 shots on goal, which did lead the Islanders in this game. And he did all of that in just 10 minutes and 12 seconds of ice time. So Dave Scatchard, kind of an oft overlooked kind of a guy, but a solid two-way middle six forward for the Islanders. He is our Islanders birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers, we're back tomorrow. We have a special guest who will be joining us, and we'll be talking a little Islanders hockey. So looking forward very much to that. Don't forget, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. You could also follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you could follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.